Hello, welcome to the Infused Show. I'm Nick. I'm here at the Alias Can Studios, from where we say no one grows alone. And today I'm not alone. I am joined by Francesca and Mike. Francesca, Mike, how you guys doing today?
Doing great.
It's a day.
Morning. Yeah, we're rolling.
It's a day. Yeah, it is. I'm not doing it. I feel flat, man. I feel flat. So,
kind of like your tire.
Kind of like my tire. Yes. Yeah. It's a great way to start the day. It's a wonderful way. I try to do it once a month if I can. Just wake up to a flat tire and really make my commute a little bit more interesting.
Thankful you weren't riding a unicycle. Then you'd really be screwed.
Then I would be on my own and really, really screwed. But we're good. We're going to have a fun show.
We're here.
I'm excited.
You made it.
Yeah, I made it. I thank you guys for checking on me and getting me where I need to be. I needed to get here today because I'm really excited for this show. The last few months, if we have to let everybody in, obviously, or else if you guys just want to end it right now from Delaware. What we wanted to talk about today is really exciting. The last few months here at Alias Can, we've been putting together a new product launch that I believe, Francesca believes, Mike believes, the whole team, we think it's going to really change the landscape of cannabis sales in a great way. So I need to set the stage and I need your help. We'll get into the what in just a second, but before we do, Mike, I want to hear from you. Could you just tell our listeners a little bit about how we got here? Why did you and Francesca pull the team together a few months back and decide to dream up something new?
You know, Nick, I think that's a good kind of lead into a lot of things here, because sometimes you get so far down a path and you look back and go, how did we even get here? And I had a feeling you were going to talk about this today. And I started thinking about the other day, and this isn't really something that kind of came out of the blue or was born one day. It's almost like something that evolved over the last few years of us doing our work and helping cultivators sell their products in different markets around the US. So, you know, I think when you're doing sales and you're talking to a lot of customers, if you're doing it right, you learn a lot of things and you pick up a lot of things. And, you know, one of the things that we did and we learned during this time was that there's really a common systemic problem in every state we've worked in. And it's a problem that really limits us from being as effective as we potentially can be. And it also is a problem that can potentially put cultivators and processors in jeopardy in terms of their long-term business and viability. So let me try to explain a little more. Our sales team, I'm proud to say, that they do a tremendous job in developing relationships and uncovering sales opportunities for our clients. However, regardless of our level of success, there's always a certain portion of the orders that go unfulfilled for a variety of reasons, most of which are outside of our span of control.
Right.
So what it really boils down to, and what we kind of got our head around over the last couple of years, that there is a big problem over that kind of looms over the cannabis industry. And in essence, what it is that the cannabis supply chain is in desperate need of more structure and more efficiency in getting products from farm to shelf. So when we kind of pinpointed this as a barrier for us and for our clients and for the supply chain as a whole, we decided that we wanted to do something about that and put our expertise and our skill set at work. So we wanted to really focus on three critical issues of the cannabis supply chain where we knew that our team could make a positive impact. So I want to talk through those three, because I think this is in every state that we've been in. So this is kind of universal. We see issues in consistency, specifically helping farms and processors and dispensaries overcome barriers associated with either employee retention, under-resourcing, or even complacency in sales and purchasing roles. So that's one key area where we think we can really lend a hand and help with the supply chain. Secondly would be skill. And this is something that we're really excited about, because this lets us share our experience and our expertise to increase the overall sales skill set and an understanding of the techniques and process that we use every day, that we've been using every day in the time that we've been in the cannabis space and 20 years before that. So that's something where it is almost second nature to us, but we want to share that with others in the space. And then lastly, and this is probably the biggest issue that we encountered that we think we can really help with, is communication. So our goal here is to improve the two-way communication between suppliers and purchasers. We see a lot of miscommunication or lack of follow through and lack of understanding of what each party needs in this space. So we think that there's a lot that we can do to help add efficiency and add just completeness to that communication.
Yeah, Mike, you touched on so much. I think when I hear things like the supply chain, it's almost hard to visualize, because all we're talking about though is like every step along the process from growing to getting your products out the door and where they need to go and making those sales to those stores. And so it's like everything along the way, the issues we've come up with, some of them you talked about with, under resourcing. And so they can't consistently deliver products, or they can't consistently make those sales calls and prospect, or they can't consistently have their testing and their menus updated. And I think you also see it in the sales skill set, because so many people are wearing multiple hats. And so you rarely have this dedicated salesperson or sales resource. So the whole developing sales skills is so low on the totem pole that
and to kind of bolster that, Francesca and Nick, you've seen this firsthand. How many of our clients have we worked with that we are one of their sales team? They have other salespeople that have different territories. We manage a part of their territory for them, et cetera. And then after not too much longer, we're the only ones left standing. I mean, that turnover in that sales roles, and there's a variety of reasons. What maybe it's lack of income for the salespeople, which is what I think it usually is. I think it's also not as easy. It's not as easy as people want to think that it is. They think that because they have a trunk load of samples of flour and edibles or whatever it's going to be, that they're automatically going to sell it. And that's not what happens. It's not that easy. If it was that easy, everybody'd be millionaires. So, I think we see that a lot.
Or anything.
Yeah. And so that's a big part of what we see as well.
Yeah, it's huge. And then the communication, like you said, I love that you did point out that it was two-way, because it is like the communication from the farm or the processors to the dispensaries, and then vice versa. Because if everybody's trying to work around different schedules and different priorities, and what's important to them isn't important to the person you're trying to reach, and that communication can really fall apart very easily if you're not diligent about it, using a CRM and consistently following up and knowing what you're asking for and being specific and clear and planning in advance, but being flexible. There's so much to it that I think people don't really understand. And I just wanted to point out that when we say supply chain, we mean everything in the process.
Right. Yep.
And it seems like that we've been through a number of cycles and gotten some real good experience, to the point where I don't feel the least bit shy about saying we're veteran players in this game now. And we've been with multiple growers through multiple harvest seasons. So in our time in this business, we've seen a lot. We've seen when Mother Nature rears her head, and which can be ugly sometimes, and an early frost arrives, and we've seen how we've had to pivot and adapt. And when Mike said, we're the ones who are still standing with a good base of experience that I think is just going to help us do a little bit more and deliver more for growers and the cannabis community.
And the way we've done that is by taking what we were previously selling as a service and productizing it and making that something that we can then have available to everybody who needs it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not letting you off the hook then, Francesca. So look, if enough of the pretense, what the hell did you develop? You mentioned products, right? We're ready for the big reveal. I don't have a sheet I can knock down or any
drum roll
crap from HGTV. Tell us what you did.
Well, we are really, really excited because we are launching a new company that is called the Sales Joint. And the Sales Joint is basically where all of our knowledge, all of our secrets that we've been using get turned into product form. And then it allows everybody who is a member of the sales joint to have access to all of those tools to achieve this consistent, repeatable business, and then lead to more sales revenue and grow their business just like they grow their cannabis. And what I'm excited about is that the products are really backed by years of data in several states. So we always try to set our clients up to be a step ahead of the market, to be the more professional, the more seamless, the more consistent and successful cannabis businesses out there. And so we were doing that client by client. But when we stopped and we started thinking about the gaps that we saw, we asked ourselves, like, what if we can put the whole market a step ahead? Because to us, it wasn't too ambitious to think that we can have an effect on an entire market and hopefully an entire industry. It just means that we are filling in those gaps, because they are gaps throughout the whole industry. We could level everybody up instead of one farm at a time. So
Yep. Francesca, you know this, and we talked about this before. What's that expression? To teach a man to fish, he'll eat.
yeah, it's give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of the philosophy that we put into this, and that, we can work for a handful of clients here and there. And it's great work. We love the people we work with, and we're glad that they are successful, and it makes us very proud. But at the same time, we know we can do more, and we know we can help this supply chain achieve new levels so that more people are getting the products they need in a better way.
Yeah, exactly. And the products they need are medicine. So it's really important to get them the products they need in a better way. And the marquee product, our big leading blue chip product is the hot sheet. So the hot sheet is like lead gen on steroids, because we've used lead gen before. We're a sales agency. And what we've found in the past is with lead gen, traditionally, what you get are a bunch of names, a bunch of numbers, maybe some titles, maybe some companies or addresses or emails, maybe. It depends what you buy, and it costs thousands of dollars. And by the way, that information is like at least 6 months to a year old, or even better, it's from whenever a license was filed. So God knows what was put on the license application, but it's certainly not who you need to talk to at the farm. So if that's traditional lead gen, we took that and we fixed it. And we said, all right, this isn't even in the same world, because what the hot sheet is first of all, far more current. It is you get it every week, a report of what dispensaries are looking for throughout the entire state. That means that we break down the store, the contact information, the role of that person, which is usually the purchasing manager or the store manager. We find out what they're looking to buy, and we get as tight and specific about that as possible, how much they usually buy, what their sampling process is, when they like to have demos and samples, the prices that they're buying at, their pattern of sampling. I mean, we just make it so that 95% of that work is done. And and then it's all put onto this hot sheet, onto this spreadsheet essentially, and given to you every week. And out of that, you're going to get 20 to 25 on average, what we call hot or warm leads every week. That means that let me explain the difference between a hot and warm lead. So a hot lead is a lead that is ready to buy now. And if you're getting, let's say 15 of those in a week, just to pick a number between 20 and 25, let's say you're getting 15 hot leads this week. That means you have 15 store A's, and store A's are looking for, let's say, THC between 25 and 30% and above. It's got to be a sativa. It's got to be not that much brown. It's got to be a frosty exotic strain flower, and we're looking to buy at least 5 pounds of it. And by the way, we usually buy it at, like 1,500 or 2,000 a pound. And when we buy, we usually start with a quarter pound. And then if it sells well, we end up buying those 5 pounds at a time. We buy them at whatever clip the store buys them at. You get all of that information plus the purchasing manager's contact information plus the store. That's a hot lead. That's like, we're looking for that this week, right now.
So I'm a farmer. I love that if I got material ready to roll. But let's say it's me, my farm, it's Layla's cannabis grow. We're a little bit behind, right? Say I'm 2 weeks out from having material ready to go. And we all know, you, me, Mike, what harvest time is like for these people. Oh my God, it's intense. I'm 2 weeks out. That hot lead's not doing me any good. What about a warm lead?
No. And you don't have to worry about missing it because there are warm leads on there too. And the warm leads are basically, they are people that are going to buy. They are anyone that but doesn't need it right this second. They are accepting samples. They are allowing people in for demos. They have some interest. They are taking new suppliers. They are looking to expand their product line or to maybe refill their shelves soon. It's just not right now. But hey, we know that if you're going to come in and sample, you need to come in on Tuesdays between 3 and 6 p.m. and you're going to ask for Zach. And when they sample, it's every bud tender has to smoke some. They need 2 weeks to get back to you, and then they're ready to buy. You get all of that information in the warm lead. So you're getting hot and warm leads every week.
Yeah. And it's important to point out that a warm lead isn't just someone that says, like, when we call, because we get this information because we're calling for you. So we're collecting this ourselves. And this isn't just a bud tender. It's like, yeah, stop by whenever. Like, that's not a warm lead. A warm lead is somebody that is interested in bringing on new products and wants to see what's out there that might be a great fit for their audience. They usually know what their consumers want. They'll have some guidance with that, but they're actively looking to bring on new vendors. So that's a difference between a warm lead and just like hey, stop by, because we've all run into
and a waste of your flower.
And it's a waste of your flower and a waste of your time to drive it out there. And we don't want to do that. We want to make this as easy and quick and repeatable for our members as possible. And that's the beauty of it is this should be the type of thing that's like, ooh, that's close to me. I've got that material. I will call them, and my chance of closing that should be 90+%.
Oh
yeah. Because all you have to do is close and deliver. That's it. And if you know exactly what they're looking for and you have exactly what they're looking for, honey, you got to close that. I don't know what you can close if you can't close that.
Right. Yeah. This is teed up. And I think the other part I want to point out, Francesca, so it's close and deliver. But then the other thing we want to make sure we're teaching people and helping people is to develop the repeat long-term lifetime retail customers, because that is where any business makes their money. It's expensive and it's difficult to get new people in the door.
Yeah.
But a lot of people they think once they get them to buy once, they kind of just forget about them and think they'll just auto buy all the time. And that's not the case. You've got to stay on top of them. You've got to stay in communication. And that's how we've successfully built our clients' business over time. And that's what we want to teach, the people who are using a hot sheet as well.
100%. And we do that because we're basically giving you with the hot sheet, your pipeline, by doing all the calling and prospecting, and then you just close and collect money. But, and here's the thing is that there's no commissions to pay. There's no selling it at a bargain basement price or selling it to retail stores. So you get to keep all of that money. But as to what Mike said, we help you sell better, not just close and get this transactional business, but actually build repeat relationship business. And we do that because I said the marquee product is the hot sheet, but we have other complementary products that are going to help you actually build your sales revenue and your relationships and those long-term kind of transactions and customers. And so we do that with a couple of things. Any member of the hot sheet, any subscriber of the hot sheet, also gets what we're calling top shelf trends. And top shelf trends are going to be information that is going to keep you informed about things that happen at local, state, sometimes even federal level that impact your business and that you need to know in order to make decisions about how to run your business, what to grow, where to develop, how much to expand, and when. I mean, because this is information you're not finding anywhere else, because we're getting it a vast majority of it is going to come from those conversations we're having on the phone with your prospects. So you are hearing what hundreds of conversations with these real players actually come out to say, and being like, ooh, you know what? We've heard that, you know, X number of stores are holding too much inventory and they're not buying for the next month and a half. And so it's like, there's a glut in OKC and people aren't buying for until whatever date. That's a trend that's happening in your place that you are selling right now. And we're going to make sure you know about it. So that's Top Shelf Trends. And you get that with the hot sheet.
I love the concept of top shelf trends, because even just that's not the marquee product. And that information is really important. If I'm calling somebody and they're on the edge of the state and they're saying, hey, stores on the border, we don't get as many calls from farms. I'm thinking, I just see the dollar signs pop up in my head.
Exactly.
And what can be done there. Kudos
and
to
think
you guys
about how
that.
much easier would people's transition for using Metric be if you knew it was coming, knew how serious it was going to be, knew how long it would take to get updated. Hello, like that. There is stuff. This isn't just news of like, you know, scrolling through Instagram and finding stuff. This is actually happening where you are, and it affects what you do.
Yeah. And, you know, I think another important component of that is that I think any business, no matter what industry you're in, you tend to operate in a bubble, and you kind of know what you know, and you have a couple colleagues and, you know, associates and people you talk with in the space. So you kind of maybe know a little bit about what they know, but you don't have a broad perspective on what's going on around the state and even something that might impact you federally. So that's, I think, what we really wanted to deliver here is that sort of information to give people a more well-rounded perspective on things that might impact them or things that might change the way they're selling or growing products. If they look at and see a trend on the hot sheet that everybody wants indoor flower, and they see on the top shelf trends of some information related to indoor, it might lead someone to say, hey, boy, I should consider putting in an indoor facility
or discounting my outdoor flower because I've got too much of it.
Yeah. And those are trends that people tend to make in a vacuum when you operate in a bubble. So this is, I think, the beauty of delivering this information that we're gathering in our conversations. So, and then we compile and organize and put it in a way that's very digestible for the readers. So that's something that we're really excited about. And it's a great fit for our skill set too, in terms of the people we have here that love that sort of research and are great content writers. So this is something we're excited about.
Yeah. And that's not even something you're paying extra for. You get that with the hot sheet.
Freebie.
And we've got a lot of those because we also have sales tools, and it's just a nice broad name to just describe resources that give you the best practices or practical tips that you can use to improve your sales conversations, that you can implement in your marketing, things that are going to give you process and scripts and systems. It's all the behind the scenes stuff that we've already developed that makes us successful. We're giving it to you. These are our secret recipes. This is like going to the restaurant and having the best meal of your life and being like, God, I wish I could have this all the time. And the waiter coming by and being like, here's how you do it. And it's actually not that hard, but you just needed to know the right steps, the right order, and how to apply them. That's what we're giving you. So we use these tools to train our people, and we figured, let's give everybody our IP because no one grows alone. You know, we aren't making anybody else better by keeping this stuff to ourselves. And so this is our opportunity to get it out there, to add value, and to make the market better. So it's really an edge in the market that other people won't have. Some of those tools will be free. Some of them will be at a premium, depending on what membership level you're at and all of that. But those are the details that, you know, we can look at when you're on the website and all excited and signing up.
Yeah, we'll get into that soon.
Yeah. And that's not all, because and wait, there's more.
This got real infomercially real fast.
I know,
really
but I'm just so
good.
excited.
Do we have a phone number that's coming up right now?
No, we also do provide workshops, because when sometimes sales tools aren't the best way for people to learn, that's just not their jam to take something, read it, and go apply it. And so we have decided to offer these on-demand workshops, and basically they're a deeper dive into that art and sales side, or art and science side of cannabis sales. So it's video series. Each lesson is basically like 20 to maybe 30 minutes, and you can watch it as many times as you want. You can watch it anywhere you want. And the best part is that we designed the workshops and the sales tools to go together so that they'll be all additive. And then, it's almost like you get this workshop that teaches you about sales 101. And then you also have a sales tool download that has those key points already spelled out, and maybe some of the best tips and tricks and whatever. And so you have those together available to you all the time. And if that's,
I saw some of the stuff you guys are putting together, and I really love the one about just the social media content strategy. How to build that out, and how to think about it, and how to kind of compartmentalize things to create sustainable, fresh content, which is a huge challenge in doing social. But then so that's an awesome workshop. But then we've got the worksheet that goes along with it. That's the template that we've used, that we developed in-house, that we use to run our own social media. And that's a freebie for people to use on their own to, again, let people be more successful, use the tools we've developed and use the hot sheet information and the trend information to position your business to grow. And that's what we're here to help with.
Yep, exactly. And we're here to help with you no matter where you are in that process, whether you are a new person just getting started in this industry and you haven't sold any flower to any shops yet, or if you are a veteran and you've got a nice little customer base, but you're looking to grow or expand, or, you're going to be expanding and you're going to have more products soon. So you better have more stores to sell those products to, or the stores you were counting on went out of business. And so now, you need to backfill. So it's no matter what you're doing in this cannabis space, if you are moving products to store shelves, we're going to be able to help. The sales joint is going to be able to help. And because our most sophisticated, most, I guess, a la carte product, our last one is coaching. And that's just what it says on the tin, is basically because it's really hard to do this, like Mike said, in a vacuum, but you get in coaching, you buy basically a block of time and you get our undivided time and attention to answer whatever questions you have. We'll get on phone calls with dispensaries with you, and we'll run the call and show you how we use the script. We'll talk to your entire sales team, and it won't cost you more. It's just about the time that you buy. But basically, we become a mentor to you and your business to help you out with any part of the sales side of it. And so all of these products, the coaching, the workshops, the sales tools, the hot sheet, it's designed to work together, but they can also be used individually. And Top Shelf Trends, they can be used individually or together, but no matter how you combine them, they work to help you anywhere you are in the business, and pretty much anywhere in the country too.
So let Mike talk to me about that. If this can apply to me as far as wherever I am, whatever part of my journey I'm on, but who's it for? Whose journey are we talking about? Who does this apply to?
I think there's three real audiences that come to light when we think about who can really benefit from what we're putting together here. The first and foremost is obviously the cultivators, processors, and even distributors in states that we publish a hot sheet. And I think one thing we need to make sure people understand is we're not going to have a hot sheet in every state coming out of the chute. We're going to start off and layer states in and make sure we're getting the quality of information, and then continue to expand to states around the country. So in states that we have a hot sheet, absolutely cultivators, process, distributors, because we're doing all the prospecting for them. They don't have to pay for a person. They can just close deals and connect with people who are ready to buy. The second audience I think that can benefit from this is dispensaries, specifically purchasing managers or those involved in a purchasing role, because this is now a mechanism for them to broadcast their needs to a network of suppliers who are interested in following through and creating business for everybody. So, this isn't just a closed loop where they, say I need this and go away. Like, we're hoping to develop ongoing repeat relationships, because the dispensary employees are going to see that this is a much more efficient use of their time. They don't have to wade through 50 clowns who are standing outside their door with who knows what in their backpack. If they want to see sativa over 20%, or they want to see some carts or some moon rocks, that's what's going to come in their door. So that's something we're really excited about. And then lastly, I think this is kind of a sideline one, but I see a lot of value, is just individuals in the ancillary services, particularly lawyers, accountants, and even investors in the cannabis space.
Sure.
These people have clients that many times need to improve their sales. And so, I mean, I can tell you, if I'm an investor, I would almost demand that who I was investing with utilize the tools that we're providing, because it's going to make them more successful and significantly reduce the risk associated with startups and investing in a new farm or a young farm or even an established farm.
Make that money back quicker.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's, and I know we're going to go through the numbers in a little bit. It's a no brainer. So, there's solutions for everybody. In states where we publish the hot sheet, is a strong value. But if you're in any state, whether you're just starting off in New Jersey or New Mexico, and you want to learn the techniques on how to sell in your state on your own, we've got tools, we've got workshops, we have individual coaching. Like, we have things that are here for you to get you up to speed faster than anybody else in your state. So, we've got products for everybody around the state, and around the country, excuse me. And that's something that, as we built this product line out, that was something that, for us as a team, we got more and more excited about it. And I think the whole concept picked up tremendous amount of momentum as we continue to think this through and understand the impact this could have for people.
I think you just touched on something that I really can speak to, as far as getting some momentum and getting excited about this thing. It was when we were coming up with the concept, and we realized, wow, this isn't a one-way street. And I think that's probably the sexiest part of this, particularly for me. If we have to go back into the days of working with growers, and you look at how many calls I'd have to make to a dispensary to actually get that flower in, was an average of 10 touches at least. The sales joint takes it, and you can do it in one. It's really incredible. So that would make me really excited, whether I'm a dispensary owner or the owner of a grow operation. But when I'm wearing hats like that, Mike, I think that the one thing that everybody looks at is, what's this cost me? What am I getting? And what's my ROI? Could you speak to that today?
Absolutely.
This is such a good part, guys. I love this part so much.
Yeah, this is something that is really the foundation and why we're so excited about this. We wanted to make these products available to the customers and to the members and subscribers. We don't really know what we're calling them yet, I guess. But we wanted to make these things available at a price that is an absolute no-brainer. And so that's what we did. And so I'm going to talk about the value and the ROI in two different ways. The first, I'm going to talk about the opportunity cost of doing this work for yourself. So let me just walk you through the numbers. So for every state's hot sheet, that's almost a tongue twister, but for every state's hot sheet, we guarantee that we will make a minimum of 600 dispensary connections each month. So I want to make sure we understand what that is. A connection is not just calling and leaving a voicemail. Like, a connection is a conversation where you're talking, listening, and figuring out what the needs are and when the needs might arise if it's not today. So that's what a connection is. Our data shows that we make an average of about 6 connections an hour. It's actually 5.86 if anybody wants to know. But so if you say 6 connections an hour, that means you would need to do 100 hours of calling to reach the same amount of stores that we do. So let's assume that you pay a wage of $15 an hour for easy math. 100 hours of calling times $15 an hour. That means you'd have to spend $1,500 a month to do this prospecting on your own. And I'm going to put 2 footnotes on that $1,500. Number one, that's just the hard costs. That doesn't mention other things or doesn't account for other costs associated with hiring, training, managing commissions, gas reimbursements, raises, benefits, unemployment. You name it. I mean, the cost of employing people is up there.
More than what it looks like.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of hidden soft costs in there. And then footnote number 2, I'm just going to put a little dose of reality here. Most cultivators and processors don't have a person who's dedicated only to prospecting. What we see a lot of is people with multiple hats. So prospecting for new customers is usually one of many tasks on somebody's list. So we know what happens when that's the case, because we've seen it happen internally with people who haven't worked out at our company. If prospecting is one of 10 things on your list, it's going to be number 11 that you get to every day, because
at best.
if you get to it. And so that's a real challenge. And so what ends up happening is the prospecting doesn't happen. Then you don't have an outlet for your material. And then you end up getting desperate into just selling it to retail because you have to do something. Or
wholesale.
to wholesale, excuse me. So chances are consistency, and that was one of the things we wanted to resolve here, consistency on that prospecting end usually is not strong, at most levels. So, but that's where we come into play, because that's all we do. So that's kind of the opportunity cost side of it. It would cost you about $1,500 plus. The second component, and the one that matters to the most to all of us, is what this will mean for your business when you start closing deals from the qualified leads provided each week in your state's hot sheet. So based on our data, I'm going to lay out a couple of conservative assumptions so that we can walk through the math. The average retail store purchases about $2,000 per order. The average store orders about 8 times a year. So based on that, the annual revenue potential of a new retail store is $16,000. Again, these are conservative estimates. We have plenty of data points that demonstrate that those numbers can be significantly higher, but I needed to have a starting out point to just illustrate the power of the hot sheet. So now we're back. $16,000 is the annual revenue potential of the store. Every week, you are going to receive 20 to 25 hot and warm leads in your hot sheet. That is a total of 80 to 100 a month. It's an impressive amount. Mm-hmm. Let's say you close just 2 of those leads, 2 of the 80 to 100. The revenue impact of those 2 stores is $32,000 a year, but that's just for 1 month. Now extend that calculation and now you're closing 2 stores every month for 12 months. That's 24 new stores, which brings your revenue potential impact to $384,000. So that's a significant increase to your business. And also, that's only 2 stores a month.
That's 2.
Yeah, that's 2. To give you a sense of reality, with one of our clients that Nick worked for in Washington, our team averaged 4 new stores a month, with a part-time sales resource calling 12 hours a week to follow up on these. So to me, I mean, I want to make this conservative, because I don't want to have people say, hey, you guys, I thought I was going to make, 10 million a year on this. Like, maybe you can, if you're really out there hustling, but these numbers, 2 stores a month nets out 384. 4 stores a month is going to be, almost over $750,000. I mean, that is significant, game-changing security to your business and your operation. So that is something that we're extremely excited about. We think this is extremely realistic and attainable for our members. Now, let's get to the $1 million question. What's the cost? So we have multiple options for cost. The one that most people choose is a 12-month option, and that's $300 a month. I am not kidding. It's $299 a month is what's going to be on the website. That's essentially $3,600 a year. That includes the hot sheet. That includes the trends. That includes all the tools, all the workshops. It's $3,600 a year to put yourself in the potential to make $384,000 a year. So that's 100x multiple on the ROI. So I don't know what gets much better than that, but these numbers make sense. We have the data to back them up. We know what we can produce. We know what we have produced in terms of leads, hot and warm. We know how many these leads we've closed, and we're bringing that all to you.
All right, now this is interesting because our listeners wouldn't be aware, but we just had a power outage here at the Alias Can Studios, and I was thinking of all those numbers that Mike was laying out for us, and I'm thinking about the sales joint as being a bit of a disruptor on the market, and I think Big Brother kind of shut us the hell down, guys. What do you think?
That's the power of those numbers. Hell yeah.
It really is. But I was saying, I love working with growers. And gotten to know so many good people that grow cannabis over the years. And I'm thinking of them, and I'm thinking with what Mike just said to us, I don't think you can afford not to depart with $2.99 a month for everything that you get. It just doesn't make sense to me. But that lots of stuff doesn't make sense to me. But let's keep going here. So I'm looking at the site, and the first thing I noticed, there are some photos of fifth year you have to take down. You have to take off the site. Now I'm looking at the site, and I see that it's exclusive. So could you explain to me why it's exclusive?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. We needed to make sure that our membership was a limited one. And we did that because it's going to be better for both the members, the growers, the people that are going to be subscribing to the hot sheet and the top shelf trends and the sales tools and the workshops and everything. And it's going to be better for dispensaries. So we landed on the capping the number of people that can be hot sheet members at 30 for each state. So there are 30 membership spots for the hot sheet in every state. The reason we came up with this is because, as we mentioned before, there's going to be about 80 to 100 warm and hot leads a month. So if there are 30 people that can fulfill against those warm and hot leads, that's enough to have different kinds of product types, different kinds of grow methods, different kinds of quality, and different pricing, so that the dispensaries have the variety that they need from our members of the hot sheet. And, all of those different needs can get fulfilled. But it's not so much that we're going to be bombarding dispensaries, because imagine if we had 1,000 members for 100 leads. That doesn't really actually help people. So we did the math and we looked at it, and our data is basically like 30 members provides this optimal balance of product selection for buyers and buying power for dispensaries. Yep. So you only are really having 29 other people see these 80 to 100 hot and warm leads in a month. That means there's plenty of business to go around, especially because we're calling all over the state. So there's going to be very little to no chance that any one grower is going to be able to fulfill on everything, that they're going to be perfect and hit it out of the park with every single need that every single dispensary has. And that's a big part of what we teach you. You do not call a dispensary if you do not have what they are looking for. That would be a huge misstep, because you're making it about you and what you need to get done rather than making it about the dispensaries and how you can help them.
And if you do make that call, you better hope Francesca doesn't find out about it.
I'll get you.
I was saying, Mike, nervous. Did you feel like you were getting scolded? Because I sure as hell did.
I almost turned my cam off.
Everyone thinks I'm the soft one. Surprise.
The heavy.
But I think but Francesca, your point is right, though. I mean, like, no one is going to have all the grow methods and all the product types and all the quality specifications covered to hit every lead. So, there's going to be leads that are near you. There's going to be leads that are, maybe you make a travel route and you hit a circuit of 3 or 4 that are in one loop that you like to drive.
Which is something we get to teach you in the workshops and sales tools.
But the other part too is that most of the time it's very rare that a purchasing manager is going to say, this is what I want, and I'm only buying from one farm. A lot of times they like to have a variety of farms represented in each product style, just so they can have a variety for their consumers. So, it's 80 to 100 hot and warm leads, but that represents far more buying opportunities than 80 to 100 as well.
Yes. Those stores might be chains. I mean, they might have multiple locations, and now you're in a multi-location store. They might be a
that's the
store that
hidden
buys a
gem.
lot, that has every kind of product type because they're on the border and they're being that mega store kind of service. So yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. It's 80 to 100 hot and warm leads, but a whole lot more buying opportunity because we need this to be a win for everybody. We need to make sure that the product selection is coming their way is great, but it's not so much that we bombard these dispensaries because we need to keep those relationships good. So that's what we want to do. That's how we improve the market, is by keeping this selective. So it's a first come, first serve, folks. And if you haven't jumped on the Sales Joint website by now, I'm not sure why, other than you don't have internet access or this isn't your business and you're just listening because you're my mom. Hi, Mom.
So it's good to know, though, we are going to have a wait list. So there's going to be 30 members in each state.
Right.
And if somebody decides after a period of time it's not for them, or they go out of business, or their crop fails and they don't need the hot sheet any longer, then we're going to keep a wait list, and the next person in line gets to jump on. So we are going to tend to that and make sure it's up to date, keep people informed of where they are on the wait list, because it's a great product for people, and we want to make sure that people are utilizing it. And so I'm hoping a lot of people come in and have value and sign up for 12 months. And that's what we're anticipating, because this is a game changer. And it's a game changer for you, but also if you're taking up one of the 30 spots for 12 months, then you're kind of locking out some of your competition too. So it's kind of a defensive move too.
Good.
Absolutely.
Point. So we gotta disseminate some important information here as far as how we find the sales joint. So I goes without saying, phone book, MySpace, Friendster. But aside from those, Francesca, how do I find the sales joint?
Well, the good news is that we're national. I mean, we might be in Delaware, but we serve everybody in the continental United States. So, and Hawaii, we're not missing you either. So you guys, we want everybody to have access to the sales tools, to the workshops, to the coaching. But in terms of where we're starting off with the hot sheet, initially we're going to be starting in Oklahoma and Washington State. We're not sure yet which of those is going to be our number one. It'll be one of those two. But we know a lot about Washington. We know a lot about Oklahoma. We have relationships there. So it just makes sense for us to launch there. As for what states we'll launch in after that, it's going to be a strategic approach, because we have certain criteria for where we can grow. And we look at the number of licenses, both on the cultivator side and the dispensary side. And as long as those states have enough, licenses, enough places where that communication consistency and skill set is going to be disjointed, that's when the sales joint comes in and helps you sell better. So those are the states that can benefit. Not, unfortunately, states like Delaware, you don't need the hot sheet because there's 3 dispensaries.
All 3 dispensaries clamoring for all 3 farms.
I think even getting our act together.
Even the worst person, the worst salesperson, can make 3 calls a day. So
maybe
that's okay, but we can make those calls better for you, because those Delawareans and anyone can use those sales tools and those workshops and the other complementary products that we have. So those are going to be available immediately in all of the states. But Oklahoma and Washington, that's where we're going to be starting. Depending on when you're listening to this, we could be everywhere by now. So yeah, like Mike said, we'll start there. Wait list. If somebody signs up and drops, if you're like, oh, I'm just going to try it for a month to make sure that it is what it says it is, totally get that. We have that option for you. You might want to make sure that you renew, because as soon as you expire, you're going to go to the bottom of the wait list, and the first person on the wait list gets to come up and take your spot. So if you're smart, like Mike said, a smart move, I should say, is to sign up for a longer subscription so that you can lock in your access and lock out your competition. But,
and it doesn't cost anything to join the wait list.
Yeah, nothing.
So sign up.
Go to our landing page.
When we're ready to launch, we'll contact you if you're interested, or we'll get a credit card, and it's that simple. And then you start collecting money.
You know, There's something really cool about the concept as we saw it from, we always talk about from, when it was a seed into what it's developed into. And I don't know, share something really quick from when in my teaching days. There was a story about the person that got in a jam and fell down into a hole, and he's down there screaming for help. A philosopher walks by, he says, "Please help me, I fell down a hole." And the philosopher says, "I'm going to think about this." Walks away. Next guy comes along as an engineer. He's like, "I think I'm going to find a way to build a solution. We can get you out of there." Walks away, never hears from him again. And then a friend comes along. He just jumps right in the damn hole with him. And the guy says, "What? You jumped in the hole? What's your problem?" He said, "Yeah, but I know the way out. We're going to be fine." I love the fact that everything that we're doing is based on a roadblock or a problem that we encountered. And it took you and Mike saying, "Hang on, man, this isn't an Oregon problem. This isn't a Colorado problem. This isn't a Washington problem. These are just problems that exist in the cannabis space. And there's got to be a better way." And we looked at a field that was erratic and where there wasn't much organization and networking. And that's what this sales solution really is that you guys have created, called the Sales Joint. It's incredible to me where we're giving everybody kind of equal footing to improve the cannabis industry as a whole. So we know where we can find the Sales Joint now. We know what it is. We know that we want to get on the wait list. And I really want to thank both of you for taking the time to explain so well and in such great detail what it is and what the benefits are. So thank you both for being here today.
You're very welcome. It's our pleasure.
A lot of fun. We can talk all day if you want.
I was going to say,
we've got
I'm ready to talk another hour about this.
I don't know if we have the power. I mean, I think we're going to short the system again, but we're going to be back again. So listen, thanks for joining us today on the Infused Show. We're excited about the Sales Joint. Please visit the website. Please get in touch with us soon, and we hope to grow together. We'll see you next time from Delaware. Bye-bye now.
Bye, everyone.